daily dose of ASMR. Well, let's do a face-to-face session for the sake of ASMR, a relaxing style, and the topic for today is how about some weird European habits that some Americans visiting Europe can't get over it. What I know is that for Americans visiting Europe is some like a dream come true as well for Europeans visiting. So the vice versa, European visiting America, the same thing. Well, for Americans, some things in Europe might be appearing odd because until they encounter some everyday customs that seems totally upside down. Some quirks are quite charming, others downright bewildering, but all of them offer a fascinating glimpse into the European daily lives. So let's start. I gathered here on a paper, let's say, 30 unusual habits for Americans, but very common for our European culture, social culture. And we're gonna start first with taking entire kitchen when moving. Not applied all around Europe, especially in the Western countries. But in countries like Germany, for example, it's common for people when moving out to remove and take their entire kitchen with them, including cabinets and appliances, when relocating, especially if they are living in a rent. Second, late dinners. Yes, that depends from people to people, from country to country. But in Europe, late dinners are very often. Southern Europeans, for example, often dine after 8 o'clock p.m., of course, which is later than typical American dinner times. For me, example, I take my dinner at 9 o'clock. But that depends, like I said, from families to families, people to people, areas and areas. No window screens, next one. Many European homes lack of window screens, leading to potential insect intrusions, unlike the standard US houses. Not well, depends. For example, if you're living in a house, yes, many of them use window screens. But if you're living in an apartment block, a block of flats, at the lower levels, they use mostly window screens. But at a higher levels, they don't use window screens. So mostly the window screens are destined to hold back the mosquitoes mostly. Next, show off indoors. Show off indoors. It is customary in many European households to remove shoes upon entering to maintain the cleanliness. Yes, this applies in most cases. Yes. And this is a sign of good behavior and education to remove your shoes when entering someone's home, especially if it's not your friend or close related. So shoes off indoors. Minimal ice drink. drinks, minimal ice drinks. Drinks are often served with little to no ice, emphasizing the beverage flavor over temperature. Depends. Depends from location mostly. You were asked how do you want to be your drink delivered, especially if it is a soft drink or a fresh drink. But mostly you were asked how. For me, for example, I liked with no ice or just a cube of ice maximum. So I want to taste the flavor. Paying for public restrooms. Accessing public toilets often requires a small fee. A practice uncommon in US. Yeah. Mostly public toilets are not free. So they charge you like 50 cents or something. But in the cases of fuel station on the highway, they are mostly free. Small refrigerators next. European kitchens typically feature compact fridges, reflecting preference for frequent shopping and fresh ingredients. That depends, not my case. I have a huge fridge. It's a double fridge. But if the kitchen is small, which is often encountered in European households, especially in the apartments, some people, yes, they might tend to have a smaller fridge to fit in the area. But if you ask me, not very common. Mostly they like big fridges. Alright. Air drying laundry. Many Europeans prefer line drying clothes, even indoors during winter, due to the energy efficiency and space constraints. This was a typically picture of the Eastern Europeans mostly. Yes, but not now. Well, things have changed. But if you go, for example, in the rural area, you might encounter this kind of look. Well, where they're drying the laundry outside the house. Well, mostly because of the freshness of the air. Of course. Drying them inside involves other factors like humidity and so on, but I'm trying inside mostly typically because I don't like to dry them outside. Cash over cards. Despite the rise of digital payments, cash remains prevalent, especially in smaller establishments. Yes and no. Well, I mostly use 90% of my time using the card to pay electronically. I don't like to have cash on me in my pocket. The only place where I cannot use credit card is when I'm making my groceries or I'm shopping from an open market. That's the only place because there were only local producers there and they don't have POS. But mostly everywhere I'm using my credit card whenever I can. I don't know in other countries, but even what I have saw is that this is more a trend to eliminate as much as possible the direct pay with cash and to use more modern digital electronically payments. Next, bathroom light switches outside. In some countries like United Kingdom, bathroom light switches are located outside the room to prevent electrical hazards. That's true. That's true. I can give this example even in my household. The bathroom switches are outside for these kind of reasons. Yes. Good. And it's much easier, for example, when you enter the bathroom to have a clear light in the bathroom than in entering during the dark and trying to locate a switch on the wall. Waiting for a toast. Waiting for a toast. In countries like Germany and France, it's customary to wait for a communal cheers before drinking. Yes, I can say that is true, but depends. Mostly, for example, a custom in my country is when everyone sits on the table, and if you pour the drinks, alcoholic drinks, in your cups or in your glasses, you need to wait all of them to pour them and then start drinking. Paying for tap water. Some restaurants charge for tap water, often serving it in bottles, which can surprise American accustomed to free water. Yes and no, that depends again from restaurant to restaurant. No tipping culture. Tipping is a minimal or included in the bill, contrasting with the US practice of tipping 15 to 20%. Yes, here relies on tipping if the customer wants or not. This tipping culture is quite different from the United States. Indeed. And there are cases where there are no tippings. Small portion sizes. Meals are typically smaller with emphasis on quality over quantity. Again, depends on the restaurants. But I don't know if this applies everywhere. Leisure meals. Dining is often prolonged affair with meals stretching over several hours. Especially at restaurants or feasts where more people on the table, yes. It is, after eating, there is a very trendy an opportunity to socialize between them, so yes. Different breakfast norms. Breakfast might consist of pastries and coffee, indeed, differing from the hearty American breakfast. Yes, that's true. For example, for me in the morning when I drink my coffee, some days I'm eating a sandwich with cheese and ham, for example, or in some days I eat a cookie or even some biscuits. That depends. Mayonnaise on fries. In countries like Belgium, fries are commonly served with mayonnaise instead of ketchup. Well, That's uh, again depends on the customer taste. But I saw French fries with mayonnaise served, even in other countries than Belgium. Extended vacations. It's common for Europeans to take several weeks off during the summer with some business says closing entirely. Yeah, vacations are longer. Sometimes I take 1 month of vacation per year, and especially during summer. I think the entire August month, for me, it's dedicated entirely to vacation. Next, afternoon fiestas. Afternoon fiestas. In countries like Spain, shops may close in the afternoon for a rest period. That's a social culture there. It's a tradition. I was shocked first when I visited Spain. That was like 15 or almost 15 years ago. And they close from 2 4 o'clock. The shops. In the middle of the day, yeah. No clothes dryers. Many households lack clothes dryers, opting instead for air drying methods. Indeed, that's true. Minimal air conditioning. Air conditioning is less common, with many relying on natural ventilation. I don't know what to say. Mostly in public locations, in restaurants, in cafeterias, or shops during the summers. I think most of them, if not all, they have air conditioning. I cannot talk about households. For example, I have air conditionings in my household as well, but I'm not using it all the way during the summers because I have very nice big trees in the front of my windows, and they are keeping quite a very natural temperatures below like 3 or 4 degrees below the outside temperature. Quiet public spaces, public areas are often quiet with subdued conversation and minimal noise. Yes, that's true. In many places. Direct communications in countries like Netherlands. People value directness and may speak bluntly, which can be jarring to Americans. That depends from culture to culture. People to people, what can I say? In Romania you can encounter the same approach. Public transportation preferences. Many Europeans favor trains and buses over personal vehicles, supported by extensive public transit system. Yes, European cities are mostly smaller than American in terms of size and very crowded, especially during the rush hours. And yes, many people prefer public transportation because it's way faster than using their personal cars. For me, I prefer my personal car. I feel more comfortable driving my own car than in the public transportation units. Different date formats. Dates are often written in the day, month, year format, differing from the American month, day, year system. Of course, that's very logical because everything starts with minutes, hours, days, weeks, and months, and years. So that's the way that it is. This will be kind of confusing for many Americans, but yes, this is widely accepted in Europe that the day format is day, month, and year. Unique traditions and quirks. Cheek kissing greetings. Very common. In many countries, it's customary to greet friends with cheek kisses. Yes, yes, that's true. It's a way to express your feelings and joy. Next, ferret legging, an unusual British sport where participants place live ferrets in their trousers and compete to see who can endure the longest. Well, that's something more likely endemic to UK. So I'm not commenting here. Running of the nudes. In Pamplona, Spain, activists ran nude to protest bullfighting practices. I saw that. I saw some articles on this topic. Cheese rolling festival. In Gloucestershire, England, participants chase a wheel of cheese down a step and hill in a traditional event. Of course, I cannot judge. Religious tax in Switzerland. Swiss residents may allocate a portion of their taxes to their church and religious institution. This applies as well in Eastern countries, but here it's at the people's will. And that was the last one. Well, so while some European habits may seem strange or inconvenient for Americans at the first look, they often reflect different types of value, deeply rooted values like sustainability, community, and social traditions. And yes, for Americans may feel weird at the first step, but can quickly become acceptable, let's say. Once you understand, they understand why. In the end, these differences are what make travel, or what can enrich the travel. They remind us that there is no single way to live our lives. So next time you're puzzled in the public bathroom, or fridge the size of a microwave, take it in the stride. Yeah. You're not just witnessing a different culture, you're becoming part of it. Thank you very much for watching. And now please, you maybe want to comment below which one you find the oddest one. Thank you very much for joining me today, and of course,